We've talked in previous sessions about the different elements of planning campaigns and executing campaigns, making sure they get distributed properly, and sort of talking about those as separate conversations. It's going to be an interesting discussion because we're going to get the chance to look at some of the different layers of that and sort of how you can start to plan, some of the elements and tools you can use to better conceptualize campaigns, and then effectively how to manage them and execute them across different channels. So we've got two great panelists. I'm going to start out by introducing Paul Burgess. Paul's Director of Online Marketing with Time Warner Cable Business Class. And Paul's going to give us kind of how they effectively plan and utilize different digital channels. So Paul, let me turn it over to you to get us started.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Paul Burgess. I'm from Time Warner Cable Business Class. And we are the cable company, for those of you who live in New York and LA and Dallas and Cleveland and other markets. For those of you who don't, we're just like Comcast or Charter or many others. And we have a business-to-business division, which is where I work. And we sell telecommunication services to small, medium, and enterprise-level businesses. So we're selling internet and voice services and network services and other kinds of products to businesses for their IT tech stack. And I joined the company about 5 years ago, and over that time we've had a transformation of our marketing. The cable business was a very traditional marketing business that was focused on more traditional channels and generated a lot of business that way pretty easily. And then over the years there's been a lot of market pressures and competition, and identified growth in the business-to-business segment, which has forced really a revolution in the cable business-to-business business. It's a business that's exploding. All the cable operators are growing their business through the business-to-business side, and small businesses was the driving factor over the years, but now the mid-market enterprise level businesses have become more important. And so my role there at Time Warner Cable is to manage digital campaigns for mid-market enterprise level businesses. So I'm really focused on different media tactics, different demand gen and lead gen channels, and marketing automation. Moving into what we're going to talk about here is how to plan a campaign. And this dovetails nicely into an earlier presentation that Jeff did earlier and talked about the framework of a campaign. So he went in detail about how to use a framework to develop your strategy for the campaign, and how to get buy-in from all the different stakeholders to make sure you're aligned across your organization. The next step is you need to plan that campaign. And planning content campaigns is very challenging. I think all of us can name many channels that we use to market. The days of direct mail or TV are over. And so when you start naming the different channels that you might use to distribute your content and do your demand gen or lead gen, they get into the 15, 16, 17 different channels: social, and your PR channel, and your blog, and your display advertising, and your paid search, and your website, and there's many, many more. So how do you manage all these campaigns? Well, you need to develop a holistic strategy, right? So that this strategy needs to align across all of your content, all of your channels, and you need to have a theme to your campaign. And you need to have, again, a holistic strategy that you can easily and efficiently execute. So the first thing is you want to confirm your resources, right? So confirming your resources is really crucial because you don't want to go into a content campaign and not know what's available to you in terms of budget or in terms of human resources, whether they be internal resources or external resources. Content campaigns may be challenging in terms of developing content, distributing the content. So you need to identify what budget you have available, and then if you're going to distribute that content, what partners are you going to work with, and what resources are you going to need to properly distribute. You can make a great piece of content. If you don't have the budget to distribute it, no one's going to see it. Set your goals. So again, this is really crucial with content. In the old days, your goals were, well, let's get people to call in, or let's get someone to fill out a web form. With content and a full funnel content nurturing strategy, you really need to be careful about what the specific goals are for your campaign and what your specific goals are for each of your channels, right? So one channel may be used to generate top of the funnel engagement. Another channel might be used to push those engaged users down the funnel. Another channel might be used to convert them into leads and MQLs that you might deliver to the sales team. Identify your audience. So that's a big topic, segmenting and targeting and predictive analytics, and we could spend many sessions talking about that, but it's really crucial that you identify your audience, that from the get-go you know exactly who you're speaking to, and that could be segments, that could be personas. You can make up your audience in many different ways, but it's crucial that you identify your audience. Next is determine the business challenge. So with content marketing, it's not enough to say, I have a piece of content, I'm going to distribute it, or I want to run a campaign, so let's create content. You need to say, what is the business challenge that I'm trying to solve for? So what content can solve for the challenge that my users have? So if in my world, I'm trying to solve problems for IT managers and directors and CTOs and CIOs. So what are the challenges they face every day in their business? And how can I create a program that's content-rich that helps solve their problem? Because if I'm able to solve their problem, they'll want to engage in my content. Next is establish the marketing channels, right? So I talked about how there's many different marketing channels. So you need to go through your long list of channels and identify which of those channels are going to work for your campaign. And then you need to align your content to each of those channels and align the content to each of the lead stages. So you might say that certain content in your campaign works well, let's say, for display advertising at the top of the funnel. But other content may work well at the bottom of the funnel. Maybe it's a high-value type of asset that might work really well to convert that user into a sales lead. So you need to align that content for the stage. Are they a suspect? Or are they a prospect? Where are they in the lead funnel? And then align that content to the stage. And when you align the content to the stage and to the right channel, you'll have a much more efficient campaign. And then integrate offers, right? So a content campaign could be great for starting the process, getting them engaged, getting them into the funnel. But at some point, you need to bring in an offer. Now, that offer could be a product offer, or it could be a pricing offer, but there needs to be some compelling reason why that user is going to take the action that you want them to take. So you need to layer in an offer, some sort of strong call to action on top of your content to drive that conversion. So let's talk about implementation, right? So now that you've got your basics set up and you move into the implementation stage of your campaign. So now that you have these resources, how are you going to allocate them? Right? So which channels are you going to allocate them to? Which agencies might you work with? Who are the internal partners that you're going to work with? And then set up your plan. So it's a project management plan to launch your content campaign, just like it is for any other project. Then build your segments. So if you're using a marketing automation platform or some kind of data warehouse, you need to go in and build your segments. So you might have to work with external teams or other internal teams to build segments, but those segments now are available for you when your program's ready to be implemented. Now finalize the engagement strategy by channel. So it's not enough just to choose the channels and do the alignment. You need to document that. So you need to have some kind of document that's going to outline what the full engagement strategy is. What are you doing at the first stage, and the second stage, and the third stage? Which channels are you using? Which content aligns to those channels? What are the different touch points? What are the tags that you're using on each of those channels so that you can get the proper reporting? And so we use various documents to do that. So there's Excel spreadsheets, there's PowerPoint documents, but we stay very disciplined on using those grids and those documents so that when we go to implementation, we hand it over to the teams that might be building out the programs. They are very clear on what to build, how to build it. And so that in the end, we get the program delivers as expected. Then you have to build your landing platforms. So you're going to build landing pages, you're going to drive users to the website, you might have personalization on the website, you're going to drive them to a microsite. So where are they going and how are they going to be engaged and what is the user journey? So you might need to work, again, across internal or external teams to build those landing platforms. And set the KPIs, right? So it's not enough to have a campaign, not enough to have goals. what are the specific KPIs within each of those goals for each of the channels, and they roll up to your overall goals so you can develop an ROI. And it's really key that you understand those KPIs and you know how to get them. You know how to set up the campaign with the proper tagging so that you can get those KPIs. Then you publish the activation plan. So now that you have the plan and it's laid out, you have to publish it to the rest of the team. So everyone is aware across the organization that what your plan is so that they can take the actions that they need to take. You might have a web development team that needs to do work. You might have a reporting analytics team that needs to do work. There's other folks in the organization who need to know what your plan is. So you should publish an activation plan for them. And then create programs in your marketing automation platform. So we use Eloqua. Marketo's here. Many people use Marketo, and there's Act-On and Pardot and others. So we spend a lot of time building out campaigns and campaign canvases and workflows in Eloqua to ensure that we can develop efficient, long-term, always-on campaigns. And it takes great expertise to build those campaigns in a way that's going to deliver efficiently and give us the data back so that we can optimize. Then you test and you launch the programs. So then, now that you've built it, you've got to test it. Does it work as expected? Does it give you the results that you want? And then you launch the programs. Then you analyze that reporting and you optimize. Just like any other campaign, you launch and you optimize and you optimize and you optimize. It's never done. And it's challenging on content because you have KPIs that you want to deliver, say, in the first week, in the first month, but you might not see results for weeks or months. It might be a long-term campaign, depending on the sales cycle, depending on the buyers you're reaching, the segment that you're targeting. So it takes that really close management of the campaign, that if it's set up properly, you get the right data, you read the data, you analyze, you develop insights, and you optimize. So here's some key reminders and takeaways for you. Don't skip these steps. Because if you skip these steps, you have holes in your campaign. And when you have holes in your campaign, you're going to lead to poor performance. And when you have poor performance, you're going to look bad on team calls. So please stay with these steps. And there's probably more for your organization. Another key takeaway is create content that the users demand. So your product team may say, we need a white paper or we need a case study on a certain topic. Or leadership might say they want a case study or a testimonial video on a certain topic. Your question for them to be is, why? Do the users, your target audience, your segment, want that content? And what business challenge does that content solve? And is it the right format for those users? And it's crucial. And it's not that their idea isn't good. It's not that you don't need content about that solution. It's that, do you have the content that the users are looking for and the users will engage at the lead stage and within your program? Because if you don't have it, you won't get good results from your campaign.
Which time, Paul?
So just a few little things to say. So you choose your channels. It's really key to choose the right channels, and you can see all those different channels that are found there. This is an example of a content campaign that we've launched, which integrates testimonial customer videos into different channels, from social to online video advertising to offline tactics to microsites. And these are some examples of the program documents that we use. So you can see that grid at the bottom there has all the different touch points of an email campaign. And again, we follow that very carefully when we build the campaigns. And this is an example of a retargeting campaign where we have multiple banners. Again, just going through the steps for each of your campaigns very carefully to set it up so that you can track the performance and optimize. And the last thing I'll leave you with is set up campaigns that you can repeat, because it takes a lot of work to set up these campaigns for them to perform well. So set them up so that you can reuse that campaign and you can repeat. So they're sustainable programs, you can optimize them, you analyze them, and then you refresh the content, and then you repeat and you repeat and you repeat.
All right, thank you very much. So it's a good complement. I think what Paul gives was a really good foundational framework of all the steps that obviously that you have to take for a successful campaign. Next, we're going to hear from Heather Berggren, who's a Global Demand Generation Manager with Dell's Enterprise Solutions Group. And Heather's going to present a little bit of different look in terms of using some new tools to optimize campaigns. So I'll turn it over to Heather.
Could you have gotten a bigger chair?
The big comfy couch.
I know, feet don't touch. Hi, thanks for joining us after lunch. If I'm wiggling too much, I don't have a belt. So keep me posted. Again, as Andrew mentioned, my name is Heather Berggren, and I lead our. I'm on. Hungry. Heather. How we doing?
There you go. I think you, no?
Better? You can sing the ABC. Okay.
I think I'm still on.
How about now? Sorry, guys. Better?
That'll work.
Awesome. Double fisting. All right. So, as Andrew mentioned, my name is Heather Berggren, and I lead our thought leadership and innovation efforts for our demand generation group within Dell's Enterprise Solutions team. And I'm excited to be here in Scottsdale. No humidity. Good hair. Austin's full of humidity. So
It's not really working for me.
got it. So want to talk a little bit about where we've been and what we're doing, and then get on to the exciting stuff about where we're going and where we are really looking forward to innovating at Dell. So about 3 years ago, we pulled a bunch of disparate marketing teams into a central enterprise demand generation organization to establish a global cadence and a global presence for our demand generation planning. So with that in mind, we set up several different groups in this team, a planning team, an analytics team, thought leadership and innovation team, really to look at the longer, broader term strategy. And as our organization wasn't in the day-to-day machinations of producing programs, activation in region, working directly with the sales teams, we're able to look at that broader, more interesting view, in my mind, of how our marketing cycles work and how we feed the organization to deliver the best solutions to our customers. So this is my new favorite slide. It talks a little bit about our journey. I'll go through a little bit of the detail there. I think the big key call-outs here are really excited to have achieved our 3-year goal in 2 years, and a 47% growth rate admittedly is not too shabby. So we're quite excited and proud of where we're going. So when we talk about that macro level, Paul had lots of great detail to share at that campaign level conversation. We're looking a little broader, zoom up a little bit, and talk about our core planning process and really centralizing that effort across the organization so that we have the end-to-end strategy, market insights, all of those pieces together. I remember being a demand generation marketer in our large enterprise segment, focused on North American programs, and literally I'm dragging content from every direction I could, throwing dollars at whatever stayed still long enough to syndicate and move forward. I dreamed about a central organization that provided all of the direction I needed so that I could focus on the really interesting regional sales team level activation strategies that would be best for our customers, and to get all of that detail across the board, across our product lines, based in solution conversations. So our planning group has established all of those checkpoints, right, across our strategy organization, and through launches and any of the market changes, all of the AR, PR angles, all of those things come into our planning process. Our analytics team, led by who I affectionately call our nerd herd, chief nerd, and front row, of course, is here with us. And everything that we do at Dell is driven by data. So our analytics team are really, really key part of what we do. And then the output is really guiding that activation. So putting a demand generation guidance package together for our global teams that have every bit of detail from investments and budgets to direction on our overall strategy and where our messages are going, and every piece of content that supports each of those messages for every vehicle they might need in region. And then the fun nerd part, right? Analyze the hell out of it. And looking at all of those pieces to really define what we wanted to do, right? Our goal was to increase marketing's contribution to the bottom line, increase the sourced number that we brought to the fold. So really establishing what that checkpoint was. Again, frankly, awareness, credibility, all the extras, influenced pieces are nice, but we really wanted to get to the part where we could take credit for it and bring it home there. So source marketing pipeline, it enabled us to set both aspirational and really attainable goals for all of our global counterparts. And then, of course, the cycle starts, right? We leverage all of those details, all of the data, all of the results and analytics to improve and constantly iterate on our planning process. All of those pieces come together for what content do we need, what gaps do we have, how is the content resonating, looking at downloads and past all the clicks, but how long did they stay on the asset? How many of those conversions came from which assets, and really where we were getting the best bang for our buck. And then optimizing those pieces, again, to understand which vehicles were bringing us the best value, and then, of course, which vendors. So down to the asset, vendor, vehicle, over and over again, and really informing what came back to our big pieces and that marketing source pipeline. So maybe one more. Talking about the next phase, the exciting stuff, the innovation piece that's really driving our organization today, is understanding how the market is changing, how our customers are looking for technology solutions, where they're doing that, how they're doing that, at what point in the process are they. Technology is not easy to buy. I joke that we can't really sell 2 scoops of cloud. I wish it was that easy. So how do we go deeper, get smarter, understand better, and then better serve both our sales makers and our customers, our end users? So looking at all of the high-value engagements, what's new in the market, native syndication's really cool, how those pieces come together, and then, of course, how our customers fit into that process. So mapping our customers and their journey to the different solutions that Dell sells. We sell a lot of solutions, and how do we get our customers to the right place at the right time with the right message and content? And then, of course, we are hugely collaborative with our regional organizations. They feed back to us what they need, what's working, what's not. We're looking at those pieces as well to really ensure that the loop is there to share and continue to iterate on our improvements. So I joke that I've had my time in the weeds and I get to do all the fun stuff. So when we talk about what's new and exciting and what's really making us really drive towards the results that we want to achieve is predictive, and how that's going to change the way we do business. I get really geeked out and excited about how much better we can be for our customer and how much smarter we can be for them. And throughout this really 2 scoops of cloud conversation, how do we get them to what they need when they need it? So we're super excited to be partnering with 6 Sense to help enable some of those pieces of our planning process. So understanding what asset, what engagement, what vehicle, when's the right time to send a customer to nurture versus invite them to an event versus send them straight to our sales team for a really in-depth conversation right away. Those are pieces that we just don't see today. I think we can kind of guess, and we can say, well, this white paper might be consideration. They downloaded that, so that's where we're going to stick them in our process. But really to know and to leverage all of those intent signals that indicate where our customers' behaviors are and where we can take them is super, super, it gives me chills. So exciting. So all of those pieces are, I know, see, I'm a different kind of nerd on these things. Mm-hmm. So the other piece that's super exciting about predictive is just the dynamic capabilities that we'll be able to implement across our campaign structures. So right content, I keep saying this, but right content, right time, in the right place for our customers to digest and really understand. And then, of course, constant optimization. We are always looking at results, how we can push those back into the funnel to make the process better, to deliver better, to ask the right questions, to ensure that our sales teams and our marketing teams are enabled to deliver the right programs and results that we expect of them. So, we're running out of time quickly, so I want to talk a little bit about the billions of signals, the billions, and it's amazing to me the research and time and intelligence that we are going to be leveraging across our portfolio of solutions. It's not easy to sell big, hefty things. We don't throw things in boxes and send them out. These are huge engagements for our customers, right? There's just as much consultancy as there is product when you get into these deep enterprise solutions. So we're really anxious to understand how we can leverage and implement all of these intelligence and signals into our programmatic efforts and really change the dynamic. Content syndication doesn't do it anymore, and it's super exciting to see how we are going to be able to deliver this. So alignment in terms of messaging is another key point, and to really be able to engage, I think, your customer across the messaging indicators, right? How far are they into their cloud journey? How virtualized are they? There are different pieces of the puzzle that we're going to be leveraging 6sense data to inform so that we have those intelligent programs. And then, of course, the programmatic angles are really super interesting, driving customers to properties, to different places within our whole ecosystem is super fun as well. So I think we've shared some detail on programmatic execution from the really detailed level and then up to the macro level that we're looking at. And we're super excited to be here, so thanks for having us.
Thank you. Keep that. I had a quick question for you, Heather. Where are you in the 6sense journey, or is it being rolled out, just starting?
Yeah, so we have worked with 6sense over the fairly complicated process of getting through all of our pieces for them to go and model. Who knew data was so dirty? Oh, so scary. I literally felt like my closet was dirty and I'd let someone into my house. It's like dirty dishes in the sink or something. Mortifying. But 6sense has returned our models. We're looking at a couple different categories across both our enterprise and client space. And we're sorting through our use cases now. 6sense customer success team has been incredibly proactive and amazingly supportive to help us get to the detail and delivering down to the regional level what we can. So we're launching.
And would
Ready,
you,
go.
to set expectations for anyone in the audience, would you say that that's dependent on size and scale of how long it takes and what shape your data's in? Any thoughts you'd share there?
Size and scale, Dell is a 33-year-old company. We've got data everywhere. And I think my hope is that your data is much cleaner than ours, and much. Oh, that's so scary, isn't it? I was appalled. I just always had a guy. He's right there. I ask him for something. He's my guy. Well, he knew how to deal with all that. I just had no idea. So size and scale. I think a lot of the process was super heavy on our side. 6sense is quite organized and really, really communicative about where. Here are the boxes you need to check. These are the things we need. This is why we need them. Really collaborative across our IT teams. I mean, Dell's one of the largest IT shops in the world. And to work and explain not just what they needed, but frankly, how the relationship with 6sense could enable our Dell.com team, for example, to better inform customers as they go through the journey. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
So,
Paul, share some of your perspective on data, how it's influencing campaign performance, and any thoughts you have on how to deal with it.
Well, it's a real challenge for us. I was talking to someone earlier about how we only service in specific locations, and we only service in specific buildings. So you think that Time Warner Cable can service everyone in New York City, but we can't. There's certain buildings we can't get in. So a lead from a building that we can't service may be a non-starter for us. It may mean we invest to build out to it too. So that lead can be three ways. It could be a lead that we need to pass on. It could be a lead that we need to send to a team to analyze whether we can invest in building out to that location, or it's a lead that we deliver to a salesperson. So the data gets really, really deep and rich. And we have an analytics team who's been dedicated to integrating our Salesforce data, our third-party data into a large SaaS database and then into Eloqua. And we're looking now how to bring all that data up to our delivery platforms, like our website for personalization, and to our digital advertising platforms. And we think once we get to that level, we'll be really powerful, because we're doing a lot of really complex email nurturing and other programs, but it needs to be a full funnel approach so that the user journey is aligned across all the different channels. And we'll probably get there this year.
Great. Real quick, Heather, you touched on the conventional ways of using syndication and things that are typical in programs. Do you see predictive moving it more towards a laser kind of focus?
I think, sure. I think there are tools that we're leveraging. Integrate is another of my favorite tools to leverage just where our customers are, what's working, what's not. So the traditional pieces are less of our mix now than they've ever been. And I think we're able to do so much more on our own and be, on the front end, more tactical in the planning to enable those traditional methods or vehicles to be more successful on the other side. So more pre-work, I think, based on the laser focus, and then enabling on the other side. I don't think it ever goes away, right? How do we get our message to where our customers are? Those are pieces that are important. It's ensuring that we're prepared on the front end for the output to be far more successful.
Yeah. All right, unfortunately, we're out of time. There's great perspectives from both Paul and Heather. I think you'll both be here. If anybody has questions, they can grab you after.
No, sorry.
All right, thank you both.